Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Fantasy Football Fix Game Week 24 deadline live stream. My name is FPL Nacho, and I'm hopefully going to be helping you guys navigate your way to this deadline, which is under 45 minutes away. So, guys, if you haven't got your team sorted, if you haven't got any plans in place, transfers, hopefully this live stream can help you guys out. So, as always, guys, if you want to support the stream, please do give it a like and hit that subscribe button. And all the information is taken from fantasyfootballfix.com, the leading FPL platform. So if you want to win those mini leagues, which is the important part of the season, head over to fantasyfootballfix.com. Links are all in the bio. Be sure to check all of that out. Let me know who is in the chat right now. You can see Rezky there saying about the website. I have checked it. It should all be good. Let me know. Obviously, update me in regards to that. But guys, usual format for these live streams with the deadlines. They are obviously absolutely carnage. So what you guys need to do is fire any questions you have in the comments section. I'll be sure to answer every single one up until 6:15 UK time, of course. And that means that we are going to be getting into the usual format of looking at the Elite 11 teams, looking at some of the best managers in the world, what transfers they've made. Going to be looking at the algorithm 11. So for those in particular I've got their free hit played, you can definitely see who is the best players to pick this game week. And then we're also going to be looking at the fixtures and predicted points for game week 24. Because of course you guys want to know who are the best players to target. So I see Rio in there. Hope we're doing well. Will I start Dallo, Martinelli or Ramsey? This is a really tricky one, obviously. So let's just throw up the fixture analyzer so you guys can probably see what fixtures we have to contend with here. So mentioned about Dallo, away fixture against Burnley, not necessarily the worst fixture in the world. However, Man United are flattering to deceive necessarily from a defensive perspective. Martinelli with his fixture, I believe, away to Wolves, and Ramsey with their fixture, which I believe Aston Villa have a really nice fixture this game week. I'm just going to filter it by game week 24, Villa at home to Leeds. Now, although Ramsey is the cheapest option, I would be very tempted to start Ramsey of the three that you have available. But I appreciate that the ceiling of Martinelli probably feels a little bit more. But I think with Wolves' defensive structure right now, the way they're operating, I probably would just favour Ramsey just because of that fixture and the form that he's in right now. Of course, I could dip into the algorithm points in a minute just to help you out on that one. So I hope that helps, Rio. See who's in the chat. Moam, hope you're doing well. Kufal or Cresswell. I probably would, of the two, personally go for Cresswell. I think he just offers a little bit more and set pieces available. Compensating Captain KDB and transfer roll just here to hit the thumb. Thank you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, that is a very, very jealous place to be. I'm very jealous sitting here right now, recording this, knowing that you are perfectly locked in with your Kevin De Bruyne move. And it's worth noting, Kevin De Bruyne, if you don't have him, what an amazing differential he is going to be for game week 24. Very little people are going to have him, and he's a brilliant placeholder for Mo Salah in game week 26. Brentford at home, Norwich away. Kevin De Bruyne getting good minutes. Looks like he could be a brilliant option in this game week. So very jealous there. But Mex is saying who to bring in for Dyer. Dallo, question mark. Yeah, I think Dallo is looking like a really good spot. Few articles released recently about Dallo actually being the #1 right back in the squad right now, which obviously is the big question mark that everybody had about Dallo going into this season under Ranić. So I think Dallo's a really nice pickup. And you can see here with the fixtures in regards to Dallo, we know that game week 25 in particular, let me just filter it here. You can see over the next four, Man United have the best attack difficulty fixtures and the second best defence difficulty fixtures. So from their fixtures in perspective, away to Burnley, looks okay in terms of defensive. Don't score many goals, Burnley, but Man United aren't flattering to deceive right now. Double game week 25 is the big sell for Dallo, and I think that's why I probably would say to you to make the Dyer to Dallo move. The thing I would say, Spurs do have a double game week in 26, so if you were to hold Dyer, you would get that double game week, but I appreciate with his injury status right now being very unclear, I think moving him on is the right move, and I do like Dallo as a pick over the next 2 game weeks in particular because of that double game week in 25 looking really good for Man United defensive owners. So I really do like that one as a pick. Hopefully Dallo is something that you'll consider, and I think he is a really good shout. Tom, hope you're doing well, buddy. Aaron says, should I transfer Broha Dennis for Edouard? Okay, so Edouard, player that is on everybody's lips right now because of the Crystal Palace fixtures that we have coming up. Now, Norwich away, what an amazing fixture to kick off this next 4. But it is worth noting, Dean Smith has definitely made this Norwich side harder to beat. and a better team overall. And then away against Brentford, which, yes, on paper looks good, but I think, again, is going to be quite a tricky fixture for Crystal Palace, followed by a double game week, which I think looks quite good, home to Chelsea and then away to Watford, and then a home fixture against Burnley. So the 4 fixtures for Crystal Palace do look really, really favourable. Now, you're on about selling potentially Dennis or Broha. Well, in regards to Broha, I think, unfortunately, because of his injury status right now, I think that's probably an easy sell, but I don't mind Broha as a long-term hold in your team, but I appreciate over the next 4, with the doubles dotting about, you want to get guaranteed game time in your team. And in regards to Dennis/King, I think a lot of us right now are pretty much fed up of these Watford forwards right now. Watford, as you can see on the fixtures coming up, West Ham, Brighton, then a double of Villa and Crystal Palace, and Man United. I would definitely favour Edouard over those. So I think Broha's the easy sell because of injury status right now, and then you could hold a Watford forward for a little bit longer. It's probably the route I'll go for. One thing I would say about Edouard, return of Zaha from the AFCON, Benteke, Mateta, I believe it's called up front, Olise, AU. There's going to be rotation along the way, I think, over the next 4, but Edouard looking really good. I think this is a great point, guys, while we are discussing right now Game Week 24, just for me to put up the predicted points for Game Week 24. This might answer a few of your questions that I've been putting them in. And you can see here, Kevin De Bruyne, we touched on it, Colm, earlier, you having him and captaining him, looking like the best pick this game week with 7.1 projected points. Their home fixture against Brentford looks really great on paper, and of course it is in real life. Salah, 6.6 points. Let me know in the chat, guys. Is Salah someone you are bringing into your sides? I'm somebody who has Fernandes right now, could do a sideways move to Mo Salah, but although he has come out and said he wants to play, he's available, he wants to start, big difference between him wanting to start and the club being letting him to start. Obviously, they are very, very much about the sports science side of things. And I do think that if their sports science team say that he is currently falling in the amber or red sort of fitness category, he will come off the bench rather than start the game. But Salah, if you have held him, apologies, definitely someone you should probably put the captaincy on or at least keep for this game week, 100%. You see the rest there, Bowen, Diaz, Antonio, Mahrez, some obvious figures here in terms of the Man City assets. Now, you mentioned about Edouard. I think that's somebody who we want to quickly touch on. So I'm just going to bring up the predicted points for forwards in game week 24 in isolation. We can see that Edouard isn't necessarily in the top 5. So we're just going to filter him here. 2.8 points projected. So not the best projected points considering the fixture that he does have. But I want to look at Edouard a little bit further beyond game week 24 just to get an idea on how he does look as an FPL option over the next 4 game weeks. And you can see here, Edouard still not hovering in the department that you probably would expect, with only 13.5 projected points. And compare that to some other cheaper options like Jimenez, Benteke. You know, Edouard really isn't showing the projected points that I thought I would see. Whether that's going to be rotation, that's possibly hindering it, I'm not too sure. But it's worth me leaving this up there for you guys to check it out. Guys, there's a lot of comments, so we're going to try and drive through them, guys. Akim saying, hi Nacho, I've got Salah and cannot afford KDB. I need to know your thoughts on getting Foden or Mahrez for a 2-week punt in addition to Salah. Okay, really tricky one because you know the part and parcel with Foden and Mahrez. Both rotational risks. Both could easily play 180 minutes or 0 minutes over those 2. So as long as you can kind of appreciate that, then I think it's worth going for the punt of the 2. But I personally don't like the feeling it gives me in the stomach of bringing in a midfielder like that. So if you're looking at 2 game weeks, let me try and give you a little bit of a hand here with the algorithm points. So in regards to Man City midfielders, you can see Mahrez projected to score 10.8 points. Foden, on the other hand, projected to score, let me just get him up a minute, 8.9. So our algorithm has him to be a little bit higher, Mahrez. And I think if I was picking a player for explosive returns, and you are looking specifically in the market for that, I think Mahrez will be my favourable pick. I think longer term, Foden definitely. But if you're happy with the risk of both, I think Mahrez has got the higher FPL ceiling in regards of being a really explosive asset. So I would say Mahrez, but please, please, please just remember that there's massive risk with these Man City midfielders all the time. Right, question here. Ahmed, Olise or Martinelli? Okay, so I think Olise is a brilliant option in FPL, but we've seen that his minutes do get managed. But I think when he does play, he's going to be a brilliant option. Arsenal, on the other hand, let's just get up the fixtures because Arsenal players are brilliant dependent on your squad situation. So just to put it in perspective right now, Arsenal for this game week have a fixture away to Wolves, which I would argue is good from a defensive perspective because Wolves, don't necessarily score the most goals, but defensively Wolves are very good, so that Arsenal offensive assets aren't going to necessarily be the most appealing. Then they have a blank, followed by an amazing double of Brentford and Wolves, then a blank as well. So I think it's very much team dependent right now. I think the double in 26 is amazing for Martinelli, and he's definitely going to play with Aubameyang now off at Barcelona. But can your squad balance with the blanks in game week 25 and game week 27? If it can't, probably would favour Olise of the two. But just remember, Olise's minutes do get managed from time to time. In particular, when Ayew comes in for those trickier games where they need that defensive work rate, that's where Ayew really comes into his own. Hope that helps. Eric saying De Bruyne or Salah. Well, I think if you are worried about minutes for Salah, De Bruyne is a brilliant option. So what I would possibly say, and based on our algorithm points as well, Kevin De Bruyne is probably my pick for this game week. And I think if you do go for De Bruyne, you hold him for 2 game weeks as a placeholder for Mo Salah in game week 26, where you go into the double game week. I think I'd probably favour De Bruyne. However, if you don't have necessarily 2 free transfers available, and free transfers are a bit of a premium to you right now, going for Mo Salah early is going to avoid you making free transfers down the line. So if your squad is in a situation where you're not really geared up for the doubles or the blanks coming up, and you don't have many chips available, I probably would say to you, avoid making free transfers down the line. And while Kevin De Bruyne might be a better option over the next 2, I'd probably argue that Salah is probably more the priority, because it means that you're not jumping on one and jumping back off. And you could focus those transfers down the line on other players to upgrade your squad. So very much team dependent. Hopefully in some way that answer has related to your team in particular. Hope that helps, Eric. George saying Son or Bruno, or Son and KDB. I think it's Son versus KDB. I think KDB tips it, but Son, such an explosive asset, obviously looking like a brilliant option long term. Bruno versus Son. Again, I think Bruno would win the battle there, mainly because of the double game week in 25. Now, again, brilliant part about our algorithm here is that we can filter it by game week. So if we're looking at the next 2 in particular, and we do it by midfielders, you can see Fernandes, 12.9 projected points. Son, on the other hand, is down here on 9.2. Now, considering he doesn't have a double game week, that's some decent projected points for him. But I think Fernandes with that double is rightly so the better pick of the 2. Doesn't mean he's the better pick longer term, just over the next 2 game weeks. For that. So guys, going to get back to the questions in a second. Just want to quickly go into two parts of this live stream. First and foremost, we're going to be coming back and looking at the game week 24 algorithm squad. Now again guys, all the information is taken from fantasyfootballfix.com. Please do check out all the information in the bio. You can upload your squad for free to get access to some of the basic tools, and you can get yourself a premium membership to get access to all these amazing premium tools that I've been using and showing off to you guys, and I really do recommend them. So game week 24 algorithm squad. Of course, this is a squad completely tailored for the specific game week in hand, and therefore if you are particularly free hitting this game week, which I wouldn't really urge managers doing, this is the perfect free hit team in our eyes and based on our algorithm. And you can see Ramsdale in goal away to Wolves. Then a back 4 of Cancelo, Trent, Laporte and Cresswell. So we are really doubling down on that Man City defence. Really do think that is a place to go this game week if you're looking at one fixture in isolation for a defensive output. The big problem with Man City defenders, of course, is that they're not going to have any double game weeks coming up. So they're only going to be having single game weeks dotted through. And you might get a little bit more for your money in other assets that are cheaper. And I'm just talking the likes of Reguilon at Spurs particularly, or Aït-Nouri at Wolves, where you can get them doubles along the way. Son, we touched on him. I think he's a brilliant option in differential this game week with that Southampton fixture. Bowen and Antonio obviously being the West Ham assets, looking great against Watford. However, worth mentioning, I do think that Roy Hodgson is going to do a good job on really making Watford tough to beat. They're going to make them very, very tricky to have the pockets in between the midfield and the defence that they usually been giving away. So I think that's going to be a trickier game than it was on paper a month ago for West Ham. Jota, of course, brilliant option. Kevin De Bruyne picking up the captaincy. And Watkins as well, giving us Aston Villa owners a little bit of hope, because Watkins has been a little bit of a slow-burning asset, to say the least. So this is our Game Week 24 algorithm squad. Make sure you take a note of it. And again, it is available on fantasyfootballfix.com. Make sure you do check it out and sign up. So hopefully that's helped you guys if you're looking between some particular players for your free hit team. Now, the second part I want to quickly show you guys, and then we are going to be, of course, going back into the questions, is our Fantasy Football Fix Elite 11 team reveal. And I know, guys, you want me to answer your questions, but this is an amazing opportunity to deep dive into some of the best FPL managers in the game. So, just a quick roundup, Elite 11 are some of the best managers. You can see they're boasting 74 top 10k finishes and 55 top 5k finishes. So this is the best part about it, is that you can see the transfers they are making in real time, and we get some notes to really get an idea of what their thought process is with their decision making. Really awesome bit. So I'm going to come down here because I know in particular, and this might really benefit some managers here. I'm just going to skip a few of these. Bring it down all the way to here. Okay, so Copenhagen Wednesday has decided to use his wildcard this game week, which is a little bit of an unusual strategy. I haven't seen many managers discussing it. So this is a great opportunity to get an idea on such a top manager and his thought process going into a wildcard this game week. And you can see there that he currently opting for the Ramsdale-Sanchez rotation, which I really do urge managers considering because of the doubles that Arsenal and Brighton have alongside the blanks that one another have. They are an amazing combo to go together. Trent and Robbo as the double up in defence and leaving himself a slot for the Liverpool third spot, which I'm sure is going to be Mo Salah later down the line. Robertson looking like an amazing differential, and moving away from the Jota because of the signing of Diaz could be a risk down the line in regards to Jota's minutes. And a Digne Cancelo double up, no complaints there. Digne is someone that I definitely have on the radar right now. Villa will have a double game week at some point, but a team that potentially might have it later on in the season. So if you're looking over the next 5 game weeks, you might not get that luxurious double game week. Now, midfield, Bowen, he's kept Bowen but ditched Antonio, not a West Ham asset that he's considering. Coutinho, somebody who probably a lot of managers aren't considering right now, and Kevin De Bruyne captaincy, probably the placeholder for Mo Salah. Weghorst, we know, I think I've absolutely butchered that name. Burnley are going to have double game weeks coming up, so that is a really nice placeholder player. Edouard, we know the Crystal Palace fixtures are great, and Kane, which I am very, very jealous of because I really think that this guy is back to his best and somebody who can offer great flexibility in your squad. You can come down to the cheaper options, you can hover around that price with Ronaldo's, Lukaku's, the Kanes. Really like this team, and Aït-Nouri sat on that bench, looking great for Wolves' fixtures coming up, although tricky. Have a few doubles in there, and Martinelli great for that double game week 26. So that is an idea here of Copenhagen Wednesday's wildcard right now, and you can see manager notes get a real deep dive into his thought process. Rightly so, a lot of managers in this right now haven't made their transfers because we know you should do it as close to the deadline as possible. But Dennis to Kane is a transfer that Kevin has made here. Kane being a very attractive asset this game week. So really, guys, I do urge you to check this out on our premium membership, the Elite 11. So 25 minutes, just under 25 minutes to go until the deadline. Let's get back to the questions. I'm going to answer as many as possible, guys. Hope you appreciated that section. It's just a great opportunity to check out some of the best minds in the game. Let me know, guys, who is currently your captain and your transfers that you're considering right now. Sujay saying, is Salah playing this game week? Well, we know from the reports that Salah is raring to go, going to be dependent on the sports science team, whether they give him the green light or not. Unfortunately, we're not going to know that information, which absolutely sucks. Tom, hope you're doing well, buddy. How are you feeling about Villa assets at the moment? So many great budget enablers. Yeah, Tom, Aston Villa are something that's giving me a real headache right now. Currently on Watkins, and I think Watkins is a good hold for the time being. And just bringing up the Aston Villa fixtures, just so we know what we are what we are contesting with. Leeds at home, Newcastle away, Watford at home, and Brighton away. 4 really nice fixtures for Aston Villa. And I know that Digne is somebody that has been on a lot of people's thoughts right now because of the good fixtures, the guaranteed game time now that Matt Targett's gone, and the set pieces that he does provide. I really do think that Digne is somebody that should be on everybody's radar alongside Ramsey. I still think this guy is flying under the radar in regards to transfers for this week and onwards. I think a lot of people are attracted to the more obvious kind of household names. I think Ramsey's going to continue to tick along really nicely in that Aston Villa tie. So I want to quickly get up Digne's projected points over the next 4 game weeks, because I think that's a really interesting player that I think a lot of people are going to go towards Dallo. They're going to go to the likes of Reguilon, and they're probably going to ignore Digne from time to time because they don't have any necessary double game weeks. Now you can see that on the projected points. Trent, by far the best asset over the next 4, followed by Robertson. Of course, they have the blank in game week 27, but that amazing double in 26 is rightly so why they are top of the charts right now. But when I come down all the way, we can't actually see Digne, which I feel like I've skipped past him. So let me just check Digne's projected points. 13.8 projected points, which is a lot less than I was expecting. And I think that is mainly because they have no double game week. We have to remember that a lot of these assets right now, the likes of Semedo's and all, have high expected points because of that double game week. And we have to remember the importance of those double game weeks. So Digne, brilliant option. I think he will tick along nicely, but I can see why managers are more attracted to those that have doubles, just because that FPL ceiling is so much higher. But guys, don't sleep on Digne. I think he's going to be a really nice option. Right then, Cooper saying Maddison and Bernardo out for Salah and Olise. Like those moves, obviously Bernardo Silva has been really huffing and puffing recently. It hasn't really delivered. I think selling him is not a bad move, although the fixture is solid. Salah, of course, going to give you a captaincy option if you want to go down that route. Olise, touched on Olise. I really do like him as an asset, an explosive player, but just those minutes are a little bit of a worry for me. But if you have the squad depth to manage it, then I think that is a nice move to make. Brandon got 10 million, transfer in Salah or Son, then cap one of them. Okay, well, if you want guaranteed game time, I think Son is the move to go for. We know he's going to start and he has a great fixture at home to Southampton. And if I bring up the projected points a minute in isolation for midfielders in game week 24, we can see here that Salah 6.6 as I mentioned, and Son at 5.1, but I would question the game time of Mo Salah. Of course, these projections are based on Mo Salah definitely playing 90 minutes, so I think that Son is probably the safer pick if you want to go down that route. The one thing I would say to you is, if you do go to Son, have you got enough money in the bank and the patience to keep that money in the bank to go to Mo Salah in game week 26 with that double game week? I think if not, going to Mo Salah is just a better move because it keeps him in your squad for you over the longer term. Otherwise, you might just actually get to a deadline in 25, potentially, forget about the money that you need in the bank and not be able to do Son to Salah in game week 26. So if you do Son, just a little bit of forward planning will be the right move to make there. Aiken saying, oh, quite a big question here, Aiken, apologies. Maddison, Smith Rowe, Keane for Foden, Martinelli, Davis, or Smith Rowe, Maddison, Antonio to Mahrez, Martinelli, Edouard. Davis obviously doesn't get game time, I imagine you're talking about here. Oh no, Davis will be the centre-back for Spurs. I would probably go for the first option, but I really like the explosiveness of the second pick. Actually, I'll go for the second. I think I'll go for the second pick. I think that's a solid move there. Smith Rowe, get rid of Maddison, obviously with the fixture coming out. Antonio. I like the second one. Ritesh saying got 4.4 million in the bank. Have Dennis, King, and oh shit! Apologies, guys. This comments just absolutely skipped this. Apologies. Here we go. Got 4.4 million in the bank. Have Dennis, King, and have Livramento. Who to sell? I would probably prioritise selling Livramento right now. Otherwise, I think moving Dennis or King to someone like Edouard is probably a nice move for your squad. Otherwise, Livramento to someone like Digne or one of the doublers, as we mentioned, like Reguilon, or someone like Ain't Nori maybe as a cheaper option if you need that money in the bank to get Salah later down the line. Olise or Martinelli, I've touched on that one. I think Martinelli is probably the more explosive asset in regards to that double game week in 26. Olise probably going to tick along nicely, but his minutes could get managed from time to time. Dalot or Digne, really nice shout here because I think this is probably quite a big debate right now. I think because of that double game week for Man United in 25, I think Dalot is probably the route to go. But this is going to come down to what kind of manager you are. We know that Digne on set pieces and guaranteed game time is going to be an asset that you're going to get guaranteed game time for the next 4 game weeks. There's a chance with Dalot, with that double game week and someone like Wan-Bissaka sat on the bench, that his minutes could get managed from time to time for him to play in the games that Rangnick really wants him to play in. So it's just worth noting that, but I think Dalot would just favour it for me. But I appreciate that some managers don't like to operate in a bit of a riskier strategy. Sujay saying Son or Kane. Again, really tricky here. It depends on your team structure. If you want Kane to hold a premium slot in your team, and I really like Kane right now, I've seen really good things from him, I would favour Kane. But the thing I would say to you is Son just a placeholder for Salah? Because if not, I think Salah and Kane as the 2 premiums could be a really nice strategy going forward into the coming game weeks. Aaron says Salah in game week 6 as it stands. Gray or Olise? I think I'd probably just favour Olise. Would I favour Olise? I think I probably would just favour Olise, but I think Gray is probably a bit more nailed, but we don't know what Lampard's kind of structure is going to be right now, unfortunately. Bazu Dev, apologies for the pronunciation there. Madison and Antonio to Edouard and Son for a -4. Would I make that move? Probably not. And the reason being is because Antonio has a really nice fixture in game week 24 at home to Watford. Although I have touched on it, I do think that is going to be a tricky fixture for West Ham rather than what it would have been a month ago. And Leicester have their fixture away to Liverpool, which of course is a really tricky fixture for them. Would I make that for a -4? Would I make it for a -4? I'll tell you what, if you're looking at longer term, yes, I think it would pay itself, but maybe not this game week in particular because it's a -4. If you can look at it over maybe a 4-game week span, then I think your returns would come over that period. Matt saying, got 2 free transfers. Would you move Antonio to Edouard to enable Son to Bruno in 25? Would you move Antonio to Edouard to enable Son to Bruno in 25? Then Bruno, Cristiano Ronaldo and Bernardo to Kane. Yes, I don't mind that at all. I don't mind those moves at all. Again, I think Antonio could do well this week, but Edouard, longer term, looks quite nice as a forward option with those Crystal Palace fixtures. Bruno in 25 for that double. Would argue you could even hold Son and go against Bruno, but appreciate Bruno with that double is probably more attractive. Rio saying I got with Mahrez in the wild card. Yeah, I think that's a great shout. Can you see Olise and Gray predicted points? Yes, let me get them up for you quickly. Appreciate I am quite far behind on the comments, so I'm going to try and catch up a minute. Gray predicted points in game week 24 in isolation, 3.3. Olise, 1.8. And that is going to be down to that game time. Now, if we look at it over a bit of a longer term, just for you guys, over the next 4 game weeks, we can see Olise projected to score 8.8 and Gray 12.2. So Gray, based on our algorithm projections, is the better move of the two. And we have 15 minutes to the deadline, guys. Fire in your question. I'm going to try and answer as many as possible. I haven't even made my transfers yet, guys, which is a common theme on this live stream, as always. I'll try and get them done as soon as possible. Lisa, how would you rather have Olise or Edouard out of the Palace players? I would rather have Edouard. I think the minutes are a little bit more locked, and he's in great form. Olise, an amazing asset when he does get game time, but I think Edouard is just going to tick a nice spot in that front line, and you could even replace one of your Watford forwards if you need to. Ryan saying, would you captain Bruno or Jota this game week, or Trent and Cancelo? So captaincy is the big one this game week. For me, I think Jota is probably just favouring over Bruno this game week for me. Trent and Cancelo, that's the big one right now. Do you go down the defender route, or do those attackers take the captaincy? I'm just going to go for Jota over the defenders just because of his underlying stats looking excellent. Victor saying, I have 2 free transfers. I'm thinking of Pookie and King. You're Pookie, Victor. Brave man. And King out for Watkins and Edouard. What do you think? Yes, I really like those moves. I think there's some solid moves there. You're losing the double game week of King, but you're gaining it in Edouard. And Watkins, guaranteed game time on that Villa side. Villa looking nice. Yes, like those moves. Play Tierney or Dawson. I would probably go for Tierney. I think West Ham defensively are still not the best team. I think that Tierney has the attacking potential, and also Wolves don't necessarily score masses of goals. So I think there's a chance of an Arsenal clean sheet there. So I would go for Tierney at the 2. Oliver saying, can you show your team? Oliver, I can't show my team on Fix because I'm kind of keeping up all the tabs here. But just give you an idea of my team right now. I think I've got Ramsdale, Trent, Cancelo, maybe a transfer in the Region, maybe wink wink. We got Fernandez, Foden, Bowen, Gray, Jota, Watkins, Antonio right now. Captaincy bus right now is on Jota. As always, guys, do drop a like if you are enjoying the stream. Oliver covered that one. What do you think is a better option? Covered that one. Apologies. Christian, Rafinha, will he play? Well, I don't particularly know the current status of Rafinha, but I'm just going to quickly check out what we have on our notes here. So, struggling for a potential ankle injury, potential return the 9th, which we are expecting tomorrow. Hopefully, somebody on Twitter maybe has a bit of information on Rafinha. Right now, based on the potential return date, he could be available, but obviously it's a little bit of a flag. So I think if you're looking to bring in, I wouldn't be looking to bring him in right now at all. Bench Weghorst or Martinelli? I probably would go for benching Weghorst, I think, personally. Tom, thanks for covering that in regards to Saka points. Oliver, I covered that. Matt, I think I've covered that as well. Matt, apologies. I'm just going through the questions here. Everyone says stats on Richarlison. Okay, well, Richarlison is definitely someone. I think the stats are probably going to take a little bit too long just because it's a deadline stream. But Richarlison in the forward department is projected to score 9.5 over the next 4 game weeks. Now, I would say because we haven't got enough information on Lampard's teams, that the projected points may definitely change over the coming game weeks. And if Calvert-Lewin is out, means Richarlison is going to be more of a focal point in that team. I really like him as a bit of a differential. And with the game weeks coming up for Everton, you can see there that they have currently with the fixtures, Newcastle, Leeds, Southampton, Man City. I quite like those first 3. And if you want a bit of a punt, I think Richarlison isn't a bad move at all. I think you could do a lot worse than Richarlison. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin is right now a doubt for game week 24. ABC just subbed. Good content. Thank you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. Start 4 of 8 Nori, Dennis, Rafinha, Tierney, DCL, and Watkins. Well, I think you definitely have to start Watkins. And outside of that, very, very tricky because we don't know the status on DCL. I think I'll probably start him and hope for the best. I'd probably go for Tierney as well. And you know what? I'll chuck Dennis as well. Bench Nori and Rafinha potentially, but that's only because of the risk of Rafinha. I think maybe or bench Tierney if you think Rafinha is going to feature because of that attacking potential. Antonio out. I think it's definitely a case for it, but with their fixture, it's not the best time to necessarily do that. Dex saying, will Fabianski play? Fortunately, I don't necessarily know, but I don't know the information on Fabianski. Apologies. Neil saying Rafinha starts. Fortunately, we covered that. I'm not too sure on that one. Salah in. Yes, I think Salah in is not a bad shout, but also I think there is definitely a place to have a placeholder for 2 game weeks and then look to bring in Mo Salah in game week 26. You could easily have someone like Fernandes, who you have to remember has 3 fixtures in 2 game weeks. Salah, on the other hand, only 2, and we're questioning whether his minutes will get managed in game week 24. Rio saying Dallow's projected points. Let's get that up a minute for you, mate. Algorithm, defenders. Here we go. Okay, so Dallow in isolation, we have got 10.8 projected points over the next 4 game weeks. Now, 4.4 points in game week 25. We know that that is, of course, the double game week, and that is the big temptation for him right now. So I still think Dallow is a really nice pick. We've seen that he has pretty much been confirmed the starting right back in that team, which kind of gets rid of the uncertainty that we kind of had in the team. But yeah, otherwise, I think that's a solid move. Apologies, I'm just trying to get up my team as well because I realise that I haven't done my team and I really, really should do. Right, guys, what else we got here? Start 2, bench 3, Region, Cody or Gray, DCL, Madison. I would definitely start Region this game week, 100%. And I would probably go for DCL and hope that he starts and have Gray as the additional first bench, worst case. Yeah, people saying about the 15-minute deadline. God, we are getting close, guys. And typically, I haven't even done my my team yet, which is absolutely typical for me. Let me know in the chat, guys. Would you go Dawson, and apologies, Tom, I'm selling Dawson here, to Digne, or would you go for Region? Let me know in the chat, guys. Best defender for under 5 million. I think 8 Nori is a really nice pickup for Wolves. I think that's someone you should definitely consider. Best captain choice this game week, Foden, Trent, Jota, Salah, Cancelo. I think if you have Salah, you might just want to go for it and go for the captaincy. Otherwise, I like Jota as the captaincy this game week. Foden or Mahrez, based on our projected points, Mahrez would get the pick there. What do you think the better option between Gray and Olisis? Covered that one, buddy. Kane or KDB? Really interesting one. If you're looking for a placeholder for Salah, it has to be KDB. But Kane looking like an amazing differential alongside KDB. So both are brilliant options. But I think KDB just offers that placeholder for Mo Salah. Son, Foden or Bowen, if that's in regards to bringing in, I probably would consider Son for the next few. I think he's looking like a brilliant option in those teams. Martinelli or Region, very difficult to choose. I'll naturally pick Region just because he's got more fixtures over the time period. Who to get in for Madison? Well, obviously, if you haven't got the likes of Jota, I think he's a nice pickup. Otherwise, outside of that, players to consider. I think someone like Ramsey at Aston Villa is still a nice pickup in this Aston Villa team. Guys, apologies. I need to get my team fired away a minute. So, who do I go for? Do I go for the temptation, guys? I think Digne is probably the one to go for. I think Digne is, but I like Reguilon because of that double game week that he has. Although, naturally, he... oh, it's a very tricky one. I don't know why I'm just tempted by Reguilon. I need to pull the trigger, guys. I need to pull the trigger. Again, guys, if you are enjoying this, thoughts on Antonio out for Edouard? Oh, I don't necessarily think it's the time to do it this game week. I think if it's a case of rolling your transfer or making that move, I would just roll the transfer personally. I think that's probably the route that I would go for. Jack say tempted to roll. Yeah, I think roll was a nice shout. Would you captain Kane or Jota? I think if you have Kane, I think this is the week to go for it. Definitely go a bit differential, go big. I would go for Kane of the two. And based on our projected points, Kane versus Jota, we currently have for game week 24 in isolation. So we have Jota projected to score 5.6 and we have Kane projected to score 5.2. So it's just in Jota's favour, but I really like Kane as an option. I really do like him as a pick. Apologies, guys. I'm just going to have to confirm my team. I think I'm favouring Digne just because of that guaranteed game time. But, guys, that Reguilon is just very, very tempting right now. Okay, yeah, let's go for the Digne move. I think that's probably the wise pick. Let's just get this locked in. Digne, do I want Digne? Yeah, let's do it. Right, Digne is just going to be an easy move for me. And I can spend 5 minutes just chatting through, getting things sorted, guys. Going to get rid of Dawson. Goodbye, Dawson. Let's get Digne into the team. Hello, Digne. Welcome to the team. Confirm transfers. Oh, guys, this is always a part of the game. Here we go. Dalot, Digne. Okay, so just confirm my team for anyone who cares. Probably nobody cares. Ramsdale, Cancelo, Trent, Digne. Jota with the captaincy. Cancelo with the vice. Bowen, Foden, Fernandes, Gray, Antonio, Watkins, and a bench of King, Dalot, and Livramento. So, team's locked in, guys. I literally... don't worry about my team until the day of it. That's the strategy I've been going for this season. Taking myself, pulling it away and focusing on the day. That is what I've been going for the strategy. Let me know, guys, what strategy you've been going for. Right, 5 minutes, guys. If you haven't got your teams locked in, let's get through these questions. I don't want to miss a single one. Right, best captaincy from Bowen or Jota? I would go for Jota of the two. Play one of Davis, Martinelli or King. I think that the ceiling for Martinelli is probably the preference right now. I would probably go for Martinelli of the three. Digne or Dalot, I'm so confused. Yeah, this is what I was on a minute ago, but I had Dalot already. Now, I think Dalot for this game week isn't necessarily the greatest asset. I definitely would pick Digne over Dalot, but I think Dalot over the next 5 game weeks looks great with that double game week in 25. So it really depends on how highly you value those doubles in 25. Really tricky, mate. Really tricky. I would probably just favour Dalot short term. Saka's double is tempting me. Saka or Rafinha. I'll go for Saka right now because of the Rafinha flag that he currently has. Logan, De Gea or Ramsey starting? I imagine both are starting, I imagine. Fingers crossed. Digne or Dalot. Yeah, we covered that one. Hopefully that helps. Raul saying, best midfielder for under 7.4 to replace Maddison. Current midfield, Jota, Bowen, Fernandes, Gray, Maddison. And you want to replace Maddison. 7.4. Let's have a look a minute. The algorithm. Midfield, maximum price, 7.5. Someone like Gallagher could be a nice pickup, potentially. Yeah, very, very far and few between. I think Gallagher could be a nice differential, but you have to remember he doesn't play against Chelsea because of that loan deal that he has in place. Anve saying, who to start? Gaita versus Norwich or Ramsdale versus Wolves? I'll be very tempted by that Gaita move, but I appreciate the Arsenal ownership in defence is probably a little bit higher, so it depends on what you value as a manager. Again, I will just put the algorithm up for goalkeepers, something that we never really look at, really. And you can see that actually Ramsdale a little bit higher for the projected points. Gaita, on the other hand, at 3.4. So the algorithm goes for Ramsdale, maybe because of the save points in particular as well that he will probably get. Bryce said, hi mate, bench Tierney or King? That's a really tricky one right now based on the fixtures that we're looking at. I think that I probably would consider going for a benching of King and starting Tierney. I think it's probably a tough day at the office for Watford from an attacking perspective. I think West Ham, not necessarily the best team, but I think there's better chance of Tierney keeping a clean sheet. Start King or Keane? Oh, Ross, I'd always favour I'd favour King over Keane right now, I think. Yeah, I would. XZ saying, would you play Tierney or Benrahma this week? Already starting Bowen. With the fixture that West Ham have, I think Benrahma and Bowen's not a bad double up for this week. Keelan saying, who would swap for Gundo? I am sick of him at 8.8. If you don't have Jota, easy sideways move. Otherwise, at that price point, if you don't have Bowen, still think he's a nice pickup as well. EL saying, start one of Kufal, King, and Smith Rowe. Probably would go for Kufal of the three right now. Shubham saying, Captain Sterling or Bruno? I'll go for Bruno because of the guaranteed game time. Sterling, probably the more explosive asset. Bench Dennis, King or Dallo? Really tricky. I probably would go for benching one of the Watford forwards. Probably bench Dennis, keep King and Dallo in your side. If you're really confident on the Watford, then of course go for Dallo, but I'm not too confident on Watford blowing West Ham out of the water this game week. So guys, we have a minute till the deadline. Please do get your teams locked in. Do not get caught out at all. I'm just double checking my team personally to make sure that I have everybody locked in. And I think it is pretty locked in for me, thankfully. And make sure you are in the same boat as well, guys. Must extend Saka or Gray. I probably would go for Saka as an explosive asset, but remember blanks in game weeks 25 and 27. Just remember that. Gray or Mora. Or Mora's rotational, Gray rotational. I probably would just favour Gray, but I'm not a big fan on either right now. Ross, no worries, buddy. Thanks for answering the question. If you haven't already, guys, please do give this stream a like. We have about 30 seconds or so until 5 seconds, I believe, till the deadline. That is going to wrap up this live stream. If you've asked any questions now, guys, unfortunately, it's going to be a little bit too late, unfortunately. So, Danny, Son to KDB, I wouldn't have made that move. I think it's too late now, but I wouldn't have sold Son to KDB. I would have kept Son, definitely. Guys, that wraps it up. Game week 24 deadline live stream. Thanks for tuning in. Again, guys, if you haven't already, please do check out fantasyfootballfix.com. Amazing website that we use, and we have some great tools available that you can check out to help improve your team. I know that I'm going to go have a drink now because it always stresses me out, these deadlines. So I'm going to have a nice little chill and enjoy watching a few more games tonight because it's great to have the Premier League back. Always good. As you can see, guys, game is updating. That is it. That is us locked in. So, guys, thank you very much for tuning in. On your way out, please do drop the stream a like and hit that subscribe button if you are new around here. It'd be great to have you guys on board because now that Premier League and FPL is back, we're going to be dropping consistent content along the way. Don't want to be missing out. We have some great presenters and some series along the way. So thanks again for stopping by, guys. Have a great game week. Hope your arrows are green, and we will talk very soon. Take care. Cheers.